So where in the world did the idea for making belts come from?
Yeah. So it's crazy, but I would go so long story short, I was in the pipeline to get a service dog, right, for TBI to help with those, relieve some of those symptoms. And I was looking for in the organization I was working with, they give, pointy-eared Belgian Malinois service dogs to operators, right? And so for me, somebody who, if you got on operations with a pointy-eared dog, I mean, it's one of the coolest things, right? They do amazing work. They save lives, and man, they're a useful tool. So kind of makes you feel right at home being around those things.
Yep.
And so I was looking for a dog collar that kind of looked like, a dog that was in the teams that would have worn, and I don't know, give you that kind of warm and fuzzy. So I was shopping at a Goodwill for a dress shirt. I mean, because I was broke. I had nothing. I ruined my finances. Like everything was a mess. And the military kind of mindset in me, I looked at something and I was like, oh, I could turn that into this and kind of repurpose it. And I saw this old leather belt on a rack for like $1. And I was like, I could buy that and put new hardware on it and like turn it into the dog collar that I'm looking for my service dog that I was getting. And I made it. I went home. It felt good. I cleaned it up and used my hands and kind of got into the creative mindset. So I'd buy old leather belts like this and I would repurpose them into dog collars. And the therapeutic side of leather crafting for me gave me a lot of benefits, right? And so it's kind of funny. I was like, man, that looks pretty good. I'm going to take a picture of that and put it on social media or whatever, right? And somebody was like, hey, can I buy that? I was like, well, yeah, sure.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And I think I bought it for $1. I put a couple of dollars. I bought some new hardware from a local arts and crafts store for like, I don't know, $4. Sold a dog collar for like $45. Light bulb went on.
Wow.
I was like, oh man, that's net profit right there.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I was driving to every thrift store around. Like I would go and I would just load these belts into the back of my truck. People at the Salvation Army and the Goodwill and all these other thrift stores were on like a first name basis with me. Like,
that's so cool.
Like we saved you some belts, brother. And I'm like, heck yeah, man. A lot of these guys that work there, they're veterans. And so I would buy those old salty, they were nasty, man. Old salty, crusty leather belts like this one here. And then I would turn them into dog collars. And then one of my buddies who's still active duty, he said, hey man, I see you're doing this leather thing. Can you make me a belt? And I was like, yeah, sure. I can make you a belt. I mean, it's just a little bit longer than a dog collar, but I can't go buy you one from Goodwill. And then, so yeah, I had to learn the new skill of leather crafting. And it was, I think, having to learn that new skill for my brother that, my brother in arms that kind of like, it was like my new mission, right? Like he needs this, like, and I know the test of what he's going to put it through. And so it has to be able to withstand those elements. So somebody who served in, a tactical role, I knew the hardship and the things that these guys were going to put it through. So I was like, okay, how would I build a belt for a guy in that job, right? And so I went to the workbench and I kind of put it together and I gave it to my buddy. He's like, hey man, this thing is awesome. And I was like, check, teammates approve, let's go. And that's kind of what I was making dog collars. We transitioned to belts, and to date we've sold thousands of belts. And the coolest part about our belts is that they're made, right here in the USA from American leather that's tanned in Kerwinsville, Pennsylvania. And then we make our own buckles right down the road. And so it's like this all-encompassing patriot project. But then at the same time, we give back to a lot of active duty military. We're an official partner. We support our troops. And then we have veterans here of every branch that work making the toughest belts in the world. So it's like, I call it an arts and crafts project that just got too out of control.
Got out of hand.